Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams. Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is L.A. Williams, and I am here on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And once again, I got my main man, Mr. Sean V. Bradley. What's happening, Sean?
What's up, brother from another mother? And we're ready to crush this. Let's do it.
Absolutely, man. And today, man, you've been listening to the podcast for some time now, and so you know we've had dealer principals. We've had, just super duper high quality managers, different things like that. But we wanted to bring someone to you that's kind of right there in the field, right? So we got my main man as a guest today. He is a salesperson right on the floor. I mean, just selling cars. He's probably going to sell a couple cars tomorrow, right? And he's also responsible for a lot of the internet marketing that's happening at the dealership. So without further ado, I want to introduce my man, Mr. Julio Lara. What's happening, Julio?
What's going on, everybody? LA, did you say that I'm probably going to sell a couple of cars? I'm going to sell a couple of cars.
I like that. I love it. I want more of it. So talk to us, man. Go ahead, Sean. You wanted to jump in there?
Julio, so tell us, how long have you been in car sales for now, and what dealership do you work for?
Yeah, I work at Country Hill Motors over here in Kansas City, and I've been at it for 2 years.
Okay. And you said that you average, approximately 20 units, and your top month you did 25, correct?
That's right.
Okay. What really intrigued me about you is that I train a lot of people. And some people listen, some people don't, but you've actually been listening. So you have your own brand right now. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I've got my brand. I've got a brand called Buy It from Julio, and I'm actually developing 2 other brands. One of them is called Name Brand Humor.
Okay. Tell us about Buy It from Julio and the new brand you're coming up with.
All right, cool. So Buy It from Julio, that started probably when I started, in the car business. I started as Julio drives it. I would, do reviews for cars. But Buy It from Julio is a lot more about selling the cars, not just about reviewing them. You actually helped me out to develop the name, and soon after that, I got, I put some money into developing a logo, high quality logo, and yeah, so far I've put a decent amount of money into this thing because I believe in it, because it's actually generating revenue, and it's really working out for me.
Well, tell us about that. So this is very intriguing because most salespeople don't turn around and invest in themselves. So you have your own brand, you have your own logo. Do you have your own website?
Yes, I do. Yeah, so I've got my own website as well, buyitfromjulio.com. Actually, my manager hooked me up and bought it for me. It was like $12, and it's 100% worth it. So with my website, it costs a lot of money to develop these things. So what we did was we just rerouted my website, Buy It from Julio, go to countryhill.com. So I can, write out my website name on my business card. People punch in buyitfromjulio.com. They'll see all of my inventory at the dealership. And it works out great for me for now until I get this thing developed.
Talk to us about that. How do you drive traffic to your website?
A lot of it is just word of mouth. I mean, just like being good to my customers. The huge thing that's really a difference maker for me, it sets me apart from a lot of other salespeople, is that I do a ton of online and social media marketing. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. And I'm getting the word out there. I'm putting money into paid ads. I'm, developing content every single day, at least twice a day.
I want to ask another question that this is, I want to say this in a devil's advocate type of way. So Julio, who do you think you are? What in the world made you think, oh, you know what, Julio should have a website? Like I'm a regular salesperson. I think I'm just supposed to come to the dealership and sell cars. I got to get a web. What is this?
Why? Because I can. It's just money hanging out there that's, waiting to be taken. Just having more exposure is just a bigger net. You have a bigger net. Everybody knows it's a numbers game. If you have a bigger net, you get more numbers. And if you get the right training and know how to do it right, every one of those numbers is going to convert better too.
Wow, and that's what you were thinking when you got your website. Was like, man, if I get a website, I'd have a bigger net. Is that what I hear you saying?
Exactly.
Wow, that's huge. Go ahead, sir. I'll talk to him.
Okay, so I also know that you're into this referral program. This is one of the things I had mentioned to you.
Oh,
Can you share that with with everybody on this podcast, like, what are you guys doing with this refer to Country Hill, and tell us about the success you personally had?
So we've always done bird dogs at Country Hill, but it used to be $100. We just upped it to $200, which is, the idea of, my managers, and it just makes sense. You're making money off these cars, and these are sales you wouldn't have had otherwise. So what I'm doing personally with this new bird dog is I'm turning it into a job. I'm turning it into a classified ad that says, hey, work from home, make $200 per sale, and actually I have a full-time employee, you can call it. This guy lives in Mexico. He speaks English and Spanish. I pay him X amount per month, and he posts twice a day on every single one of my Facebook pages. So it's 4 Facebook pages that he manages, and he posts twice a day. He translates from one language to another, and he does all this for me. But where he makes most of his money, he generated $600 for himself on Saturday by generating 3 sales for me on Saturday.
How do you generate 3 sales for you?
He just got on Facebook, and he kept on putting the word out there. He made ads for me. He just goes on countryhill.com. All my inventory is there. The prices are all there. The Carfaxes are all there. He posts this stuff online on the Facebook. I gave him access to my Facebook pages, and this guy is just generating all this stuff for me, and he's happy because he's making money too.
That's awesome. Now, how did you find this guy?
So he's a relative. He's married to my wife's sister.
Okay.
And, they're living down in Mexico, and in Mexico wages are very low. So I mean, I'm paying him more than he would make anywhere else, and it's still not very expensive for me.
That's awesome. So this is really exciting because this to me is what a millionaire car salesman does. A millionaire car salesman is going to treat this like it's their own business.
Absolutely.
They're going to turn around and they're going to invest in education. They're going to invest in resources, a logo, a brand, a website. You have your own employee, it's a general contract employee that's working for you. So
Right.
It's not just you, man. So you're taking this thing seriously, that car sales is like owning your own business, correct?
Absolutely. It has to be.
Okay. Now, talk to us about education. Like, you're on Bradley on Demand right now.
Yeah.
How often do you train?
At the very least once a week. You have to. You can't just regurgitate what you've learned on your own. You can't just be your own, be all end all authority on how it's done. Everybody else has something to say. Why make your floor everybody else's floor when your floor could be someone else's ceiling? I love learning and gleaning from other people who have done it before, who have different and creative ways to solve problems and to make money.
That's absolutely huge. So when you say making money, give us your number one. What was your best month when you did the 25 cars? How much money did you make?
That was pretty close to 10 grand. It was still below 10, but it was close to 10.
How did it feel for you to be able to bring in almost $10,000 in 1 month, man?
Oh, it was great. I mean, it gets to a point where the numbers are arbitrary, but it's just great. It's great, to not have to worry about money. And, whenever there is a slow month, it's like, as long as you're smart with your money and you're making great money when the getting's good.
So you said smart with your money. Let's talk about that, because a lot of people, in the car industry world, they get a big paycheck and they just blow it. So what advice do you have once you start making those $9, $10, $12, $15,000 checks in a month? What should people invest their money in?
Well, you have to have a rainy day fund. You have to have something in savings, or at the very least, investing in something that you could cash out of. So what I do a lot of the times too, because I made 58 grand last year, which is not a huge amount, but I made 58 grand last year, from my gross at work, and then I also made almost 20 grand on the side, because a lot of this money that I make, I have all this money in the bank. I put in small investments, short-term investments, like buying a car. I buy a car that's for 5 grand. This thing retails for 10. I'm just going to buy it and sell it. So I like to, make that money work for me some more too.
Man, that's amazing right there. So again, that's kind of crazy, and I didn't even know that before this interview. So you made almost $60,000, but remember, you've only been in the automotive industry for roughly about 2 years now.
That's
so
right.
You just got into it. and you made like 60 grand last year, but you made an extra $20,000 by investing in little small investments. One of them is, what do you know? If you're an automotive professional, you understand about cars. And so you found, and you love cars, you just said, and then so you're finding, cars at one price, you're getting them, and then you're just flipping them.
That's right.
Okay, so give us some advice on that. So how do you turn around and go about doing that? Like, let's just go step by step for somebody. Teach other people how can they turn around in whatever state that they're in, turn around and buy used cars. Where do you buy used cars from?
The same exact way that my dealership does. So my dealership as a buying center, they have folks that they get up on Facebook Marketplace, they get on Craigslist, they look for decent deals, and they make these people offers. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. If I find a good offer, if I make someone a decent enough offer, they're gonna bite on that. Some folks don't even know what they're selling. Even my dealership bought an Audi S4 Avant for the price of an A4. We're gonna make $8,000 profit on this thing because the guy who sold it to us didn't know what he had. And there are a lot of deals out there like that. Sometimes to save a deal, to save a sale, somebody will come in, they'll have like a little Toyota Camry, like a 99. They'll want, $1,000 for it, and our dealership gives them $300 for ACV. Well, I mean, $300 is ACV, and they're about to walk away from a deal. So I say, hey, managers, is it all right if I offer this guy $500 for his thing? So I give him $500. I sell it for $1,500.
Right. That's smart, man. That is really, really, really smart. So what are you looking to do? What's the most amount of cars you've owned? A couple at a time, or?
The most amount is probably 7. My wife doesn't like it when it's more than 4, but I've owned as many as 7.
Does your dealership let you leave them at the lot, or do you have to take them home?
So that's just a matter of what the owner is okay with. The owner calls the shots. It's a pretty big operation, but the owner kind of calls the shots. He likes me a lot, and this is actually how he got started in his business. Countryville Motors. It started on a driveway.
Bootstrap.
And so he sees me doing this stuff, and he's actually just patting me on the back over here. Every once in a while, he'll let me put a car up on his lot. But part of being a dealer, part of being a salesman is just having friends. And I have a lot of friends in my area that are totally cool with me, parking my stuff in their properties. That's just how it goes. You got to get creative with it.
Okay, so you mentioned something about Facebook Marketplace and vehicle buying center. So let's talk about, can you explain what is Facebook Marketplace and how do you use it?
So Facebook Marketplace is kind of like Craigslist, but it's on Facebook. The cool thing about Facebook Marketplace is that it directly links to groups. So there's like a Kansas City buy and sell page with 20,000 members. And as soon as I create a little ad, like a Craigslist ad, but for Facebook, featuring all the stuff about the car that I'm selling, it gives me an option to choose 10 different groups to share it with. So I can share it with 10 different groups, and they have like an average of 15,000 followers each. So boom, just like that, 150,000 people are exposed to this ad, and it's just hard to lose like that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us, how much business are you able to say that you legitimately close a month from social media?
From social media, probably 5 out of 18 sales.
So you're still selling about 5-6 units from social media. Now, what about these referrals? Danny told me that like you had like some crazy like 16 referrals in 1 week and you spotted 4 cars. Is that true?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, go over that again. So wait a minute. So you had 16 referrals in 1 week and you spotted
my first week.
The first week.
Advertising the referral program as a part-time job. 16 referrals, 4 of them converted.
Yeah.
25% ratio.
Yeah. Where did you find it? Where did you get that idea from?
I just came up with it.
That is strong as hell, man. That is really, really, really strong. All right. So now, what are some of the tools of a automotive sales professional in 2019? Like your cell phone, what apps, what technology, what do you use?
Okay. Definitely the cell phone. Definitely taking your own videos. When you get somebody coming from out of state to buy a Porsche, you got to offer to take a walk around video. Video the car, but also video your personality, video, I'm a handsome guy. I like to, show people that you're working with a guy over here who knows his stuff. And a lot of people just lay down for stuff like that.
Man, you speaking my language, because the truth of the matter is that most people don't understand or take advantage of the technology that they have at their fingertips. So I basically hear you saying that your secrets, it's not a whole lot of secret. It's just a matter of supply and demand. It's
Yeah.
buy low, sell high. I mean, it's the simple stuff in life. So that's phenomenal stuff. So is there any particular thing that you do? I mean, you're 2 years in the business. Do you do anything in particular to maintain gross, for when you're selling cars?
Yeah.
Talk
Um,
about that a little real quick.
okay. It's not super linear, but at the same time, it's all about consistency. I have to develop at least one video per week, and my wife keeps me accountable to that. I develop at least one video a week. I mean, you have to do follow-ups. You can't be successful if you don't follow up. It's just, I mean, keeping your nose to the grindstone. Um, it's staying on top of your training. It's creative problem solving, overcoming objections. It's just hustling, really.
Okay, and so how does that maintain? How does that turn into gross for you? Is what I'm saying. And holding gross.
Well, it's a numbers game. You make 4 appointments, 2 of them show, you sell one at least. It's just a numbers game. So getting more numbers through the door.
Wow. And again, just think about the audience. There's a lot of people who are having problems with this stuff, and you're making it just sound so simple. And I think that's the beautiful part about it. Real quick, talk about this, because I heard you mention twice already in this podcast, you mentioned your wife. So talk a little bit about the partnership and maybe what she
Yeah.
does to help you in your, because a lot of people, listen, they might have a negative spouse, they might have a
Hmm.
talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, like that kind of even ebbs and flows itself. Like towards the beginning when I got started getting into sales, she kind of saw it as a big risk, commission job, this is going to be tough. But once those big checks started rolling in, she kind of started believing more in me, and that was great. Just having someone believe in you, having someone support you, give you constructive criticism. Um, Keeping you accountable, having someone to keep you accountable is huge. Whether it's your wife or your manager or your buddy that works with you who's doing the same thing, having someone who actually asks you the right questions and gets on you if you're not doing what you said you would do. Um, I can't just motivate myself every single day. It's just nice to have someone there to help.
Wow. And so basically your point is that if people want to get their wife, there's people to believe in them, they bring in some money, then that kind of like changes things.
Yeah, or not even necessarily that. You could just be getting started, and it's just bringing the idea. It's letting someone know that you care about what you're doing, and I mean, I really love my job. I really care about what I do. I might not be selling cars forever, but I really love marketing. I love creating content. I love all this stuff, and my wife sees that. And when she sees me doing what I love to do, I mean, she is super supportive.
Wow.
Okay, so tell me what you think your potential is in the 2019 just got started.
Yeah.
I know I've exposed you to people like Frank Graniti that could sell 100 cars, a month, making almost $750,000 a year on the show. Or Ali Reda, again, I think he's probably doing about $1 million, a year on the showroom floor. It's insane, and these people are making stupid numbers out there. What do you want to do? This is only the second month. We got 10 more months. Where do you see the end of 2019 going for you?
All right. I feel like I can grow out of a sales position. Not necessarily that I want to be in management or anything like that, but I know what my strengths are. And I'm a good salesperson, but I'm better at marketing. I'm better at creating content. I'm better at being consistent, where a lot of people fail on the thing that I think is kind of the future of car sales or sales in general. It's the internet. It's the internet. It's social media. It's all this stuff. And I feel like I'm really good at this stuff. And although I know that as a salesperson, I could be very, very, very successful, I know that at the end of the day, where I really want to be is in marketing. And so whether it's 2019 or 2020 or 2021, I'm just going to keep my nose to the grindstone and keep playing my strengths. And like I said, I'm a good salesperson, but I'm an even better marketer. I'm going to keep playing my strengths, and whether it means working with someone who's already doing it or starting my own business. Like I said, I've got a name brand humor going, and that's going to be that's my production company for the content that I make for Buy from Julio, and maybe who knows? Maybe I don't even need to buy from Julio in the future with name brand humor, and I'm developing this content for other dealers and for other organizations.
Absolutely.
That is strong, man. Absolutely
100%.
strong.
So let me ask this question, because I know you work with other salespeople. I know you are around them. And what would you say is the biggest mistake that you watch people make over and over? And you like, man, if they just stop doing that, they can make themselves some money.
The biggest mistake is not believing in yourself and not believing in your product, and not and taking no for an answer. You don't take no for an answer. No is just a hurdle. Um, you can't quit. When a customer walks through the door, it's because they expect to find what they're looking for, and you're there to find that for them. And if you get an objection, you have to overcome it. If objections are just there to be overcome. It's a lot of folks just quit way too early.
Absolutely. One of the things that I say to people all the time is never say okay to something that's not okay. Like people say crazy and they're like, okay, great. That sounds great. No, it doesn't sound great. That's not a good plan at all. So I totally understand. So talk about the habits of the most successful people at the dealership. What are they doing that the folks that's making all the mistakes, what are they doing that those folks aren't doing?
All right. The main habits are following through. They are creative problem solving. That's a huge one, because problems always come up. A deal is always, you always got to give them a win, and you never know what that's going to be. Sometimes it's something as creative as, hey, we'll do your taxes for free. Something as creative as, you know what? In a month, I don't care how dirty that car is, I'm going to detail it for free. You just got to get creative with these things, and some folks, it doesn't take thousands of dollars of losing on markup to get a sale. Sometimes it's just something as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Creating an experience for folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, absolutely phenomenal stuff. All right, so talk to me about this, because I don't know if you're specifically, do you read any specific book? Like, what makes
I
your
do.
mind work the way that it works? Because again, it's different than the way most people's minds work.
Yeah. A lot of it is just, and like I said before, your floor doesn't have to be everybody else's floor. Your floor can be someone else's ceiling, and that's just, I believe in that 100%. There's no reason for me to bang my head against a wall when somebody already banged their head against the wall for 50 years to come out with, something when they were 60. So the books that I really, really, think are super, a very important part of how I operate are Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Excellent book.
Phenomenal.
The Richest Man in Babylon.
My
Kind of
favorite.
interpretive, but a very good
That's
book.
my favorite one, man. That's the one that set me on the right path.
I love that book. The 4-Hour Work Week, take it with a grain of salt, but at the end of the day, the principles are 100% true. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The Power of Habit, Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. I love that guy. How to Win Friends and Influence People, and the list goes on.
Huge stuff. All right, so I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, but I want you to come back to it. Talk about training and the importance of training, and if you see, again, the people that are making the mistakes, how often do they train versus, the winners?
You know what? It's funny because the dealership where I work, it's a little bit different than most dealerships. At most dealerships, you walk in and everybody's been working there for maybe a year, maybe 2 years tops. At my dealership, most people, like the veterans, have been there for 10 plus years. The rookies have been there for 2 years, right? So the veterans are a lot of them are ingrained in their ways, but they're very good at what they do. The rookies, like me and the other guys, we're the ones that are training, and we're getting better, and a lot of it is, teaching old dog new tricks with the veterans, but the new guys are actually training, and they're actually trying. They're getting better at it, which I love to see.
Wow. So what exactly should I train? If I'm a salesperson, I've been doing this, just say I've been doing it 2 years.
Yeah.
What should I be training on in order to get better? How much more can I learn? It's been 2 whole years.
Nah, I hear you, man. I train on YouTube as needed. If there's a question that I want answered, freaking YouTube it, Wikipedia, whatever. Sean Bradley's Bradley on Demand training is excellent because it has a lot of the questions that I have. I don't have to go to Google. They actually ask those questions for me. Stuff about social media, stuff about, building a brand, stuff about getting your name out there, overcoming objections, just really creative ways from folks who have been doing it for a very long time. It's just really, really awesome that you guys just put that all in one training format for everybody. And I love listening to Gary Vaynerchuk. A lot of it's very general and broad, but just the spirit behind it, the like the energy behind it is just so what I want to look like in 40 years. I want to look like that. I want to be genuine. I want to be honest. I want to provide a good product and be happy and with my work and just love what I do. I want to continue to love what I do.
Man, Julio, I'm telling you, you are really giving the folks some nuggets here. So what I hear you saying about the whole Gary V and just all the training, everything that you're doing is that, man, you just have, because you live in the information superhighway, right? You got the internet, that basically there's no excuses. And I talk about that from the aspect of being blind. See, years ago, I couldn't read a magazine. Right.
Yep.
But now I could just go right to the internet. You know what I'm saying? Everything is right there at my fingertips. So I love the age that we're living in. And so basically when people are making excuses and doing the things that they're not doing in this day and age, it's a bunch of malarkey. Would you agree with that?
That's right. That's
Absolutely. 100%. All right. So I heard you say that you love, what you do. You love the marketing. What is it that you love about the automotive industry? Why automotive?
All right. I love cars, man. I love those. They're amazing machines. I love, just the engineering behind cars. I love driving them. I love what I drive. I really like going out in my driveway and looking at, my cars. I love them. I really, really enjoy that. Like, there's one material thing in this world that I really, really enjoy. It's my car. I don't care what the Joneses think about me. I just know that I like it a lot. I also love competition, man. I love being better than another dealership. I get upset whenever I'm driving down the highway or whenever I'm driving around my neighborhood and I see that, the license plate trim with another dealership's name on it. I get upset about that. Like, why didn't they buy that for me?
No, I love it, man.
Love the competition.
The competition is everything, man. I tell them we need to look at this like it's like a sport. It's like, okay, you work for my team, you got another team. You wouldn't like, listen, I know the Eagles, we just, we still the Super Bowl winners because the other Super Bowl was boring. So we just gonna hold the Super Bowl crown a little longer. But man, that's exactly how you feel. And see, it's way better to be a part of the game, right? To be a player in the game versus just being a fan. So, if fans think they're excited about their teams, how do the players feel? And so 100%, man, you know that competition, that era of belonging, right? That's huge in the automotive industry, and it's phenomenal stuff. And I think that people all over, I mean, you should feel that pride when it comes to what it is that you do. So talk a little bit about the pride and just wanting to win.
Yeah, there's just nothing like it. I love being on top. I love being the best. I don't think there's any room. There's no room in the way that I see myself or that I see, the work of my hands, except for being the best that I can be, producing the best that I can produce. If I'm not top salesman, I'm not top salesman, but I was the best I could be. I converted every possible, sale that could be converted. I did as much as I could possibly do. I love being satisfied with my work. And then the competition, I love competing with other folks and just, it's iron sharpening iron. You're actually, I want everybody to succeed. I want other salesmen to succeed. I want other dealerships to succeed too. I want us all to sell more cars. But at the same time, I want to be the best.
There you go. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't matter how many you did, as long as I did that plus one. I love it. Phenomenal stuff. All right. So here's the thing, and I'm just going to ask this question for my own personal reasons, because I said that the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, was the book for me. So what did you get specifically out of that book? And, what do you think people could receive from a book like that? It's a real quick book. It's written kind of like the Bible, things like that, but it's super duper powerful. Talk about that real quick.
I mean, a lot of it's super general, broad, and interpretive, but I think the biggest thing is just being wise with your resources. The biggest resource, in my opinion, is time. Being wise with the resources that you have, investing them well in whatever, like if it's social media, you're going to, really, really put a lot of time and effort into social media. You're going to put money into that. You're going to see a return of investment. I mean, being smart with that. It's dipping your toe in first and then jumping into the pool. It's not putting all your eggs in one basket. It's just pairing hard work with whatever God-given gifts and talents and just resources you have at your disposal, and doing it the right way, learning from other people, taking criticism, like actually loving to be criticized. I love being criticized. I love it when people tell me that I'm doing something wrong and I could do it better. I love learning from other folks, especially when it's somebody who's more successful than me. I love learning from my managers. I love that stuff.
Wow. And see, that's the key right there, because so many people do not, right? So that's huge. All right. So, man, that was almost like a daggone closing statement, but I still want to give you an opportunity. What is it that you want our listeners to know in as far as being a millionaire car salesman? So basically what I hear you saying is you might not quite be there yet, but you're on your way. So tell us what we should know about Julio and what he has to say.
I mean, the whole point of my main goal isn't to make a quick nickel. It's not to make a slow dime. My main goal is to do what I do the best. If you're going to do what you do the best, if you're going to put your resources in the right way, if you're going to do things wisely and accept criticism and train where you need to train and use resources the way you're supposed to use them and read other people's ideas and just do things a smart way. And there's so many resources out there for you to benefit from. If you're just going to do what you love to do and do it well, you're going to succeed. You're going to be a millionaire, billionaire, I don't care what you call it, but you're going to be very, very successful, and you're going to be very happy. I'd rather make half of what I could make and be a very, very happy man. I really like my life a lot, man. I love that. I love my wife. I love my family. I love my job. I never come home from work and feel bad about what I did. I feel like I'm always being as honest as I can be. Sometimes that makes me lose, a couple of bucks, but I sleep like a baby at night, and I sleep comfortably and I live comfortably. My bills are all paid. I love what I drive. I love where I live. And a huge part of that is just keeping that positive attitude, to be honest, and just having standards, keeping your faith, having a code of conduct, having people respect that a lot. And it's just make a friend sell a car. You're going to make a lot of friends, and you're going to sell a lot of cars if you're genuine and you have that kind of energy. It just, people love that, man.
Awesome stuff, man. Phenomenal. All right. And I know you talked about your brand. You talked about different things. We're going to make sure that we put the links to everything in the show notes. But just, is there any particular place that people should go to connect with you? I know you're in the Millionaire Car Salesman group. Yeah. Different things like that. But where should people go to find out more about Julio?
Yeah, Facebook.com/buyfromjulio.
Nice. Awesome stuff. Well, again, man, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This was a treat, for everybody. I know for my ears, and so definitely for the Millionaire Car Salesman's ears, it's a different perspective. And hopefully it was something that was valuable because, again, 2 years in the business and to have that mindset, I'm telling you, like he put a lot of folks to shame. But again, if you can receive the criticism and if you can take a personal look at yourself and say, wow, you know what, if this guy can do it, I can do it, then you're definitely on your way somewhere. So, man, thanks so much for being a part. We totally appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, man. Have a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like it, you love it, you want more of it, then don't wait for the next money show. Just go to BradleyOnDemand.com and take your career to the next level.